So, very warm welcome, Harsha, to the studio today. And I'm very excited to talk to you about the Akashic Record Reading 8-week course that you did with me fairly recently, well, a little while ago now. But I was just wondering if you would share with me how it all was for you, what inspired you to take the course in the first place. I'd love to hear any of your thoughts.
Okay, so firstly, Catherine, thank you very much for teaching me and initiating me to the Akashic Records. I can't thank you enough. If it's been a year actually since I actually started the course in January last year. If you remember, I was on holiday and I approached you that I wanted to do the Akashic Record readings. Obviously, Akashic Records weren't strange to me. Being Hindu, I know about Akashic Records and karma and all that. So it was all something that I was looking to probably work on because a family friend member had actually had a reading done, and I was interested in thinking, could I open my records? But I thought that it was something that's not possible for people like us. It's only possible for people who are enlightened and, out there who are sages and who are, so, of course, when I searched, and as they say, when the student is ready, the teacher comes, and I found your website and I approached you, and we very quickly booked the course and a reading.
Yeah.
Of course, the first reading that I did, and that was my first Akashic reading ever with anybody. So, yes, of course, in that it came to light that obviously I was drawn to doing the Akashic record reading, and you in the records mentioned that I did this in my past life. I was looking after the records in the Andromedan time. So that obviously confirmed why I wanted to do that. And of course, Lemuria, you mentioned I came from there. So the healing and all that made sense in the Akashic records. So it made me more and more interested in wanting to do this work myself. So then we started the course pretty much straight away, if I remember, and we dove into working on the higher self, which was really fun. And then we we went through the course quite quickly, but I was working and, time constraints. If you remember, I was working and going into the back stock room, doing the course, and blown away when we did the Merkaba, if you remember. I mean, that was just
Life,
amazing.
it's life changing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
And then the other thing that struck me was the dragons, and that they helped me a lot, and they even now I use their energy to help me, and they're so loving, and it's amazing.
It is amazing.
So, so yes, I use them for a lot of my other work that I need help with.
Okay.
So, it's just not the Akashics, but you also taught me that and the abundance within the course, which helps, because you're kind of not just teaching us to read the records, but it's everything else we would not know would come through in a reading, which is important.
Okay.
So that helped a lot. And of course, if I remember right, when we opened the first time the records, I was petrified. Do you remember? I was like, oh God, I don't think I can do this. And then you said, do you want me to give you another week? And I said, yes, please. And so we took another week before we did the Zoom call with a few people.
Yeah, when you
When
practice people live first time.
That's
Yes.
right. It was very, very daunting. I was shaking like a leaf, but obviously you very um, kindly encouraged me and reassured me that what you're hearing is not your mind, and it is trust those messages and just pass them on.
Yes.
And I did, and it resonated with those people. And then of course the main thing was I think after that I took a bit of a time out because I had a lot going on in my own life.
Yeah.
And I think it was about 6 months later, 4 months later, actually, I decided I'm going to go now. We'd sold our business. And yes, the Akashics guided me with the sale of the business. You guided me as well to do what things to do. So, these are the things that Akashics do help you. Even on a regular basis, I was opening my records for guidance, and which I always do even now
Yes.
first thing in the morning. And whenever I feel challenged, I'll just open the records. And that's a good thing that they answer and they help you. Your guides and angels are always there and they're always helping you. So, that's something that's quite nice to have now. Even if you don't have anybody, you turn to them.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're never going to be alone ever for the rest of
Never,
your life.
never,
They're,
and that's
they're
the
always there.
beauty. Yeah, that's the beauty. And so, of course, when we opened, I did the first 35 readings before I could actually qualify
Yeah.
as an Akashic record reader, and I was really nervous. And of course, I had a few um, ups and downs where I called you, and you again, helped me get through it and gathered. So that's the beauty that you're there at the
Yeah.
back of, any help we need, any support, you're always there, which I'm very grateful for. And those readings obviously went quite, if you remember all the reviews that I got from all our Merkaba group, and that was just mind blowing. Even I didn't expect that. So so I was quite encouraged, obviously, and it was nice to get all that lovely feedback, which helped me now then to join your own website, to start doing those readings. And even with that, I've had amazing, amazing feedback from
I
all the
mean, how
readers.
many five-star reviews have you had? I can't even keep count.
All the ones I've done readings for have given me 5-star reviews, which has been amazing. And of course, I do readings for friends and families outside of the website, and they are blown away, with feedback of, how they've helped, the Akashics have helped or their guides have helped them get their lives back into. It's
The
just amazing the
alignment.
feedback you get.
Yeah,
Yes. In
absolutely.
fact, I just, one of the people from the site that came through, and she gave me a 5-star review, messaged me just recently again and said, she got her job that,
Yay.
she was, yeah. So, and I helped her with a few feng shui tips and stuff like that as well. So, I
Yes,
think that helped her, and she's got her job. And so she was like, I'm so grateful to you. And that's the space to be in when you're making a difference to people's lives.
absolutely. I agree. I think that's amazing. And I also, going back to when you first started talking, you spoke about how you thought reading the Akashic records was only for enlightened people and that sort of thing. And then we open the records and we find out that you are an enlightened one. And I think there's so many people out there that are enlightened, but they're just afraid that they're not, or they think that's somehow above them. When actually, if you follow the steps and you do the work, and if you have an initial reaction or I think maybe the word a reaction to the Akashic records in terms of if you feel drawn to the Akashic records, then there's a very high likelihood that you are actually meant to be reading the records for others. So it's a very interesting step to take, that you feel like you're not enough, but actually you are. You are enough. We just needed to do things like activate your Merkaba and help you remember who you really are and remember how magical and powerful you are. So it's worked out really, really well. And I'm pleased that you took your time to do what you needed to do in the physical world, get that all sorted out so that you would be free to open the Akashic records and work on that part of your world. And that has shown in the readings that you're doing. You're getting the 5-star reviews because you took your time, you did what you needed to do, and you've come out on top. So very, very well done. Well done to you, Harsha.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I
Amazing.
couldn't have done it without you, because you remember at one stage I was like, no, I don't think this is for me. I don't think I can do it. And you said, no, trust that voice. That is it. That is it. It was, I said, no, I think that's my mind talking. Do you remember? And you said, no, Harsha, that's not your mind.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
now it's amazing because, as soon as I opened the records, and I remember initially when you did the training and I did the records for myself, and I was going back through my notes and I
Yes.
was looking at the first page that when I asked the Akashic Records and the guides, a simple question, it would be like two sentences. And now it's like pages and pages and pages, and it doesn't stop. And it's actually kind of quite amazing. It went from like two sentences to three to four, and I was like, oh yeah, look, I just noticed that yesterday when I was going through the pages, and I thought, wow, yeah, and now the messages just flow through, and I trust and surrender.
Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I insist that we keep a journal and we date the record, the
Right.
messages that come through. That's why the process works, because you can then go back and see, wow, look at how I'm building a rapport with the record keepers and guides. Things are getting faster. So for me, I'm very visual, and they've created a visual I would say a visual symbols and visual database that I can draw in on. So they will show me a symbol for a specific meaning. So that speeds me up when I'm doing a reading for someone else. But they might do something similar with you. If it's not visual, it could be feelings, or the way that they speak to you is faster because you've already got this connection. And it's
Mm.
like anything, if you're an athlete, you know that you have to build up to something. You can't just go and run a marathon tomorrow without having done any training. You build up to it, and then you can really fly through and be really prepared, and actually get the medal, the 5-star reviews that you're getting. So well done. Yeah, and there's specific words that I listen for when you're receiving messages from the guides, where I know that you've received a message. That's part of the training. We'll know if you're connecting to the records, if you're not. So yeah, and I'm so pleased with how well you've done, and how it's become something that's a part of your everyday life
Yeah.
and
No,
improved you on everything. So, was there anything, one surprising moment that you had during the workshop? Anything that happened like that, or anything that's really memorable that you can think of?
I remember during the workshops, it was the when you initiated me to the Merkaba.
Yes.
And I think when we actually did that, both of us, we didn't know where we were. We were
Very.
transported into this space that I think we probably took a long time, I think, just to come back. And I do remember that after that session, or was it the session after, a lot of challenges did come up in my space, and I asked you that, is this what I'm doing, or what is it? And then you said, just stay grounded, and you know do your meditations, and you're fine. And of course, I did my prayers, and did manage to get through that tricky time. So that was the one thing that I remember, is that sitting in that stock room I was doing, do you remember it? And we did the markup, and we just didn't know where we were. Even you were blown away when you came. So, whoa, Harsha, where were we?
That was very spacey day.
That
Yeah.
was, yeah. And the one other thing that comes to mind is that when we did the dragon
Oh, that
meditations,
was so beautiful.
it's just, yeah.
It's mind blowing as well, just
Mind-blowing.
like next level. But
Yeah.
the Dragon Workshop works very well if somebody's activated their Merkaba,
Mm.
because then the way the Merkaba works is it raises you up into the 5th dimension, and the dragons tend to hang out in the 7th dimension. The record keepers and guides hanging out in the 11th dimension. So if we get ourselves up to the 5th dimension, it's much easier for them to connect with us, and bring us the messages that we need. So I know exactly what you mean. And yeah, so sometimes it can happen with the Merkaba when we activate level 1. Some stuff that throws out stuff. Actually, one of its main jobs is to reduce karma. So if there is anything hanging out in your auric field that is left over from past lives that actually shouldn't be there,
It's exactly what I
just,
think.
yeah, as I'm talking, all this air is coming up just as like confirmation for what I'm saying. So yeah, that can come up, but obviously we've got ways of dealing with that if something does come up.
Mm,
And once it's released, then the relief that people have from that is just really phenomenal.
yeah,
Like we're letting go of your old karma, anything that's weighing you down, holding you back from living your best life. And that I also find is why a lot of people are walking around thinking that they aren't good enough to be an Akashic record reader because they've got all this karmic baggage hanging around. So once we get rid of that, raise you up to 5D, then you can get that very beautiful connection with the dragons and the record keepers and guides. So yeah, I remember that. That was really good. So, Harsha, do you have any advice for anyone who was thinking about becoming an Akashic record reader, or if what would you tell them about the 8-week course? Is it something?
I would say if you feel called to do it, go ahead and do it because even if you don't do it professionally, if you want to do it for yourself, for your family, if you're in that profession of healing, like, of course, I'm a Feng Shui consultant as
Yes.
well. And this helps my clients because you see, we believe that, Feng Shui is 33.5%, and then it's karmic and heavenly luck, and then it's personal luck.
Okay.
So I used to help people with their houses but it was their personal energy and how they were working to attract everything else in their lives. And so now I bring it all together because now I can advise them on how their mindset is, okay, and positivity and vision boards and all that. Not only that, now the Akashics come in and they clear their karma. So anything that was blocking them. So now, I can provide a 200% kind of coverage of knowing that this will work even better.
Yes.
So yeah, and that's probably what is helping my clients as I'm working through them. So
Oh, okay. No, that does make sense. I have had other healers or people doing like they might be a Reiki healer or they might be a hypnotist or now yourself as a feng shui person or professional. Adding to their toolbox the Akashic records definitely helps get that next level. I know that in the when somebody's doing hypnosis, they can then actually find out next level what's going on with this person. Instead of just healing it, they can go that little bit deeper and find out what happened in past lives, because sometimes it's not about what's happened in this life, it's
yeah,
past life stuff that we brought forward that's preventing us from doing it. So people have all these different problems that come up, and it's actually very neatly linked to past life stuff. So that does make a lot of sense. Absolutely. Yeah.
so it's giving you everybody. I would give every healer, or even not if they're not even doing any healing work, give it a try if you
Yeah.
feel called to do it.
Yeah,
And the way
absolutely.
you've presented the course, it's quite very simple and easy to follow. So I found that, because would it had it been a lot of stuff that I had to read, I
Yes,
think I would have not been able to do it while I was working.
absolutely.
You remember, I was in the middle of we were in the middle of selling our business and everything, so it was lots going on.
Yeah.
And I still managed to do it. So, because it was very to the point, the prayers, the way it's laid out is
Yes.
quite concise and precise. So it makes,
Thank you. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm very visual, so I quite like to
yeah,
demonstrate everything. So, and I think a picture says 1,000 words. So, just in one image, people can actually get what I'm saying. It's not just a theory course
mm,
workshop. It's actually visually supported, and even the videos I think help as well. So, because when I have to explain what a Merkaba does, what it looks like, it could be very difficult to explain just with words. But when I show the slides and actually the steps and then the videos to support it, I think that helps people to see a little bit easier what actually is going on. And once they can see it, and then it's easier to apply it to their actual world and to apply it in their meditation to see what's going on. Yeah. Would you agree with that?
Totally,
Yeah.
totally.
Well, Harsha, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure to be a part of your journey. I can't wait to see what the future brings with all your Akashic Record readings. And you just seem to be going from strength to strength. And yes, to some more 5-star reviews.
Thank you. Thank you very much for giving me this space and opportunity again. I hope that this helps a lot of people get the message out there, you know, that go for it. Go for it if you feel called to do it.
Thank
Because
you.
Catherine's an amazing teacher.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care. Have a nice day.
You too.